Hello friends, welcome to this session on object-oriented programming. In this session, we are going to implement student class with its various attributes and methods. Let us start this session. As discussed, we are going to implement student class, and we know that the first task will be to define its constructor. So here I am only having one attribute for this student class, that is name, along with self, which is used to initialize the instances of class. I'm taking the value of name parameter and assigning this to self.name. This will help us to assign the value to the objects of students. After defining the class, we can create its various objects. So here I'm defining two objects for student class, and the object name is S1 and S2. And since this constructor need one parameter name, so I am passing initial name for each student object. One is John and second is Nick. And you also know that we can access these attributes by using object name dot attribute name. S1 dot name and S2 dot name will help us to access their corresponding names. Let's run this code to see its output. So you can see that we have John and Nick as corresponding output, but we can extend this class by having few more attributes and its corresponding methods. So let's extend this student class by having two attributes this time. I am having two attribute name and age. So I am taking two parameters and then I am assigning these values to the instances of class by using self.name equal to name and self.age equal to age. And this time when I have to create object, I need to pass two parameters. One is for name and second for age. So you can see that here during creating S1 object, I am passing John 23. So 23 will be used as age for name John, and same for S2. As you know, we can access the attributes of object by using object name dot attribute name. So S1 dot name and S1 dot age will access the information for object S1, and similarly we are accessing the information for object S2. Let's run this code so you can see that we have corresponding output. Fine. So still we have no method in the student class, but we can have methods also in a class. In this student class, I'm defining a method in the student class which is used to set the marks of the students. So here you can see that I'm considering student with three attributes. One is name, age, and marks. So I'm taking name and age as a parameter. So during initialization of object, I have to pass these two parameters, while the attribute marks is initialized as 0 by default. So clearly you can see that class here having three attributes, name, age, and marks. We are taking the value of name and age during creation of object. So during creation of object, I have to pass name and age, while its marks will be set by default as 0. Then we have a set marks function which is actually used to set the marks of the student to the specified value, and that specified value is passed as a parameter marks. So you know that every method will have first parameter as self in a class. So here we are defining self as first parameter, second parameter is desirable, which is marks. So I am taking marks, so that's why self.marks equal to marks will help us to set the marks for the corresponding object. And during creation of object, we just need to pass name and age. So that's why you can see that during creation of S1 object, I'm just passing name and age. Here I am accessing the information of name, age, and marks. So can you tell me what value will be displayed at this point, S1 dot marks? I hope you know the answer. So S1 name will access John, S1 age will access 23, while S1 marks will be 0 because we have not passed any marks here and marks are initialized to 0. Then we are calling this set marks function to set the marks for given student. And you know that we can access the methods by using same idea, object name dot method name. So here I'm accessing set marks function for object S1, and I'm calling this by object name dot method name and passing the values which is desirable. In this case 34 will set as marks, so it will set marks for student 1 as 34. So the second print statement will print name John, age 23, but this time marks will be updated from 0 to 34. Similarly, we are creating S2 object by passing initial value for name and age. Then we are setting the marks to 23, and then I am printing all those values. So let's run this code to see its output. So you can see that the initial value of marks for John is 0. After using setMarks function, it is updated to 34, while in this case I am just printing the value after using setMarks function, so that's why it is giving me nick 22 and 23. So I hope that this output makes sense to you, and this example explain you that how we can create a class with desirable attributes and methods. Another important point we learned in this example is that it's not mandatory to pass all the attributes during creation of object. We can initialize few attributes to 0, as you can see in this case. Whenever we have to define method for a particular class, its first attribute should be self, so that we can access corresponding attributes in that particular code. And here we are accessing marks attribute and we are updating its values. And another final learning is that whenever we have to access objects attribute or methods, we have to use object name dot attribute name or object name dot method name. So these are important points to keep in mind. Based on this discussion, I have an assignment for you, so I will discuss that assignment in our next video session. Thanks for watching this video, and please do watch next video session for the problem statement of the assignment. Thank you. Bye bye.